Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back, and it is time for another Starcraft 2 Pro Bot AI match. We have got ourselves what's going to be a TVT, but as always, it's a bot versus bot. That's the most important part. And returning back for this game, it's actually going to be the bot that really impressed me the last video that I did. It's going to be Tier T. Tirt. And in the bottom right, it's gonna be Nikolaj. So I've actually never cast Nikolaj before, and we're gonna be on the map Moondance, the AI edition. It's gonna be Tier T, who I just mentioned. I really enjoyed his last game, so I thought I'd cast another one of its. I don't know why I say his game. Its game. So Tier T, gonna be potentially playing that sort of Ghost Hellbat strategy we saw. TVT is a completely different matchup than TVZ, so it might just do something more standard, but regardless, I thought it deserved some more looking into. We have got basically mirror builds at this point in this mirror matchup, the only difference being an SDV Scout from Tier T, whereas Nikolaj going for no Scout. That depot getting raised, getting lowered, getting raised, getting lowered. Oh dear, I might need to disable the sound. Getting raised, getting lowered, getting raised. Oh, I apologize. We're just gonna look away from there. Oh, look at this depot that's not moving. Nikolaj employing psychological warfare against the commentators. Okay, disabling the sound, enabling the music. So, we have got a reactor on the way here for Tier T. As far as the production goes, we've got a reactor on the way for Nikolaj. Those depots have decided to remain silent, and all is quiet when the depots fall silent. But I just realized, I think I got distracted somewhere along the line there. Make sure to go ahead and hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go for Nikolaj amount of SCVs. 21 likes on this video. If we could do that, that would be fantastic. I know you guys always blow it away, being the fans of StarCraft AI that you are. And yeah, subscribe if you haven't. Join the Discord, which is linked down below. If you're a bot author or a fan of bots, feel free to let me know a game you want to see or that kind of thing. And yeah, we'll just watch as this game gets underway. We've got a siege tank on the way for Nikolaj. We have got some marines on the way. So a very standard one-base tank push, it would seem to be the plan from Nikolaj. Potentially going to go for Vikings or something behind this to take control of the skies. Kind of an old school StarCraft 2 attack, but deadly nonetheless. Tier T going for a very TVT-oriented build. Reapers and Hellions as an opening. Actually, double Reapers on the way out of that reactor. That's very significant. High damage, high cost, potentially high reward for Tier T if these Reapers can, say, get into the mineral line when Nikolaj is out of position. Say if Nikolaj moves out and then there's a counterattack with the Reapers. That being said, Tier T is going to need something to defend when this attack comes. I don't like to predict too much in StarCraft 2 to be like, oh, he's going for a one base, so that must mean he's going to attack. But in this case, I'm pretty confident Nikolaj bot is going to attack here. And if it doesn't, then there will be egg on my face. And it will mean that Nikolaj most likely loses this game, because going for a one base like this, you need to attack. Tier T with the faster command center is going to need to take some damage. Okay, we've got the Reapers and Hellions chilling here for Tier T. Queuing at the natural base of Nikolaj. Interesting decision there. The amount of work that's been put into these bots is just insane. Like, the fact that you have to put in the thought to say, make the Reapers and Hellions when you're in a TVT at the 4-minute 30 mark, just make them hang out at the natural and deny the natural. Don't go into the main base. And the behavior seems to be really good for Tier T. Nikolaj trying to go for an expansion, showing a little bit lack of the depth there, rallying out its third SCV to die. Will there be a fourth? Is it just going to be one SCV after another? And oh boy, it is. Cloak Banshee going to be moving across the map for Nikolaj. So there's going to have to be an answer to that for Tier T, and there really isn't other than some Marines. So if this Banshee is microed well for Nikolaj, that could be huge damage getting done. No Viking or anything on the way. A Marine did just pop out. The Banshee can micro against it. There is a scan. Banshee can just run away, kite the Marines endlessly. Is there going to be a Cyclone queued up behind this? A Raven? Most likely a Raven. Yeah, Raven on the way there for Tier T. The Banshee gets pushed out, but this really isn't min-maxing of this damage. The Banshee's coming on home, it appears. That is not enough damage to justify one base. Like, that should have been like 10 SCV kills, I want to say. Somewhere around there. Because, like, the amount of time it takes the Raven to build, there could have been more scans burned. Nikolaj bot having some weird behavior, deciding to pull that Banshee back. Maybe that's just behavior. Pull it back in time that it just perfectly runs out of energy on its cloak. Who knows? But we're seeing continuous SCVs rallied out, and this is a good example of why programming a StarCraft 2 AI is hard work, ladies and gentlemen. We have now seen 14 SCVs go down, just one after another, sent into the meat grinder here by Nikolaj. This really is just a massive blunder. We're now going to see an army move out from Nikolaj. Tanks are actually sieged up. They could get some big shots off here on these units, and oh my gosh, those Reapers and the Hellions just get eviscerated. Only one survivor to tell the tale. And if Nikolaj goes for an attack now, this could be a lot of damage. The Vikings in the sky are going to give air control. Then we have got... Yeah, command center finally on the way for Nikolaj, but down 20 SCVs. I mean, it would be much closer if it hadn't rallied 15 to its depth, to their death, not their depth. I mean, if it was an underwater map, I could pull that pun off, but this is not one of those maps. Now, Vikings moving across over the siege tanks, going to be just chasing that Raven down hard, gets the kill. Nikolaj pulling back though, and that is not what you want to see in a match like this. Because we knew the condition. Nikolaj to win this game definitely needed to get more damage done. I mean, there's always the chance that there can be odd engagements that allow, say, Nikolaj to come back in this game. The Vikings working away on one of the Ravens, going to fly over that auto turret. That's no good, but if they can kill the Ravens, still worth it. Seeing as how neither of the Vikings went down, that's actually quite big for Nikolaj. Should be more than enough to stifle that attack, but then there isn't a defensive position set up at the natural. Now, command center finishing up is going to trigger Nikolaj to defend this position. You see the logic there. But the tanks are getting set up for Tier T. It looks like actually yet another good engagement there for Nikolaj. Just destroyed the Reapers and the Hellions, now destroyed most of the tanks, killed off multiple Ravens of Tier. But it's just the economics that aren't in favor of it, because it's just stayed back far too defensive. I love to see the multiple missile turrets here from Nikolaj. This is sort of like a catch-all. If you haven't had a chance to put in the work to program a bot that, say, has perfect defensive behavior, you want to go for the most broad defensive behavior you can to defend against harassment. Say, I don't know, you look at the stats of your bot, see that it dies a lot to, say, Banshee harassment, or it loses a lot of SCVs to some sort of air harassment that it never deals with, and you don't want to have to try and think of that. A simple catch-all is put down missile turrets. It's not going to work all the time, but with the high-sec auto-tracking that Nikolaj researched, this is going to defend from like 99% of air harassment. And so that's the reason behind that. However, Tier just going for the third base, gets up a sensor tower at the third, which is interesting behavior there. That's kind of the wrong spot. Maybe it's Tier's behavior not taking into account that the third would usually be the further out base, so it's natural. Oh yeah, build the third, put a sensor tower behind it. Yeah, that doesn't really help too much when you're taking the third behind. I mean, it kind of does. Potentially if a medivac flew like around the back left, but could be in a much better spot. Tier's going to be moving out with a higher supply, with more Ravens, a large count of Marines. No stim on those Marines or anything like that. However, Nikolaj has got quite a good defensive position here. More Vikings than its opponent. Kills that Viking. Going to be gunning down this medivac. Gets one of those tanks right away. We see Tier is going to try and actually siege up in this position, though. Already a tank sieged up for Nikolaj. But that's actually not going to cut it there. As a lot of the Vikings are going down, and air control is lost for Nikolaj. Tier is pushing in with this attack. Like, the resources lost definitely is in favor of Nikolaj this game. And it's just funny how how AI versus AI works, the dynamics. It's like, oh yeah, Nikolaj is winning all the fights, but it's still behind for what it lost 15 SCVs trying to take its natural base. This actually looks like a pretty decent defense, though. This one tank is in a great spot. This other tank is just taunting fate, going back and forth here. But then it looks like a hold from Nikolaj. Supplies are closer. Base count is definitely higher here for tier. The economy is higher. This natural base is under fire, but it's just one tank, so that should get shut down. Multiple tanks on the way for Nikolaj. What a scrappy game we have here between these two, and I think it's safe to say that tier is the bot that has more depth to it, that is a little bit more efficient, but Nikolaj is a great bot here. Loving the style that it's playing. No orbital at the natural is a bit unfortunate. Not sure what the decision is there, whether it is programmed to build an orbital, but then it's always busy making SCVs, that sort of thing. Oversaturating the space as well is interesting. Yeah, anyway, we now have tier at its 4th base, just producing lots of units here. Resources lost, still in favor of Nikolaj, but not enough to offset the extra bases that tier has. Tier now going for a 5th, no 3rd in sight for Nikolaj. Sensor towers now getting set up. Interesting to see how sensor towers are used by bots. Just to actually utilize that information or not, or whether it's just a general detection sort of thing. Now, that's actually something that's going to be nerfed in the patch. Sensor towers having their range reduced, which when it comes to a circle, reducing the radius by any amount actually makes you drastically smaller. See the Liberators having their circle nerfed by 1, I believe it was, compared to what it used to be. But we'll see if that's going to affect the Muse too much. I feel like that was more of a patch change that was thrown out just so they had some more stuff on the Terran list. Sensor towers really didn't need a nerf, I don't think. You're not pointing at games and going, oh, Terrans with their sensor towers are winning too many games. I wouldn't say so much, seeing as how Terran is the race with the least accessible static defense. Ignore my Terran and balanced whimsing there, as that's actually not too important when it comes to bot versus bot, particularly a mirror matchup. Okay, the tanks of tier getting shot down again. Nikolaj just defending with its mass amount of tanks. The air control is long since ceded to tier, though. The base count is just a disaster here for Nikolaj. The economics and the depth of this bot really are not there, as instead of just long distance mining or expanding or taking its natural orbital, tier has just continued to pump units off of 2 bases, and Nikolaj has continued to do that. And I think tier is eventually going to win out here, going for a 6th base, whereas no expansions are out there from Nikolaj. But I love Nikolaj's behavior. It just needs to be a little bit more macro focused. You know, take an extra base if your attack doesn't work, that kind of thing. Long distance mine instead of have all your SCVs hug a refinery. Things like that. Nikolaj still winning most of the fights, though, which is impressive that it's defended like 4 or 5 attacks. I'm not sure how much longer that's going to last, though, as tier's now moving across the map. No stim yet for tier, which is interesting. Someone needs to remind me why Terran bots don't actually go for stim pack. Maybe just it's hard to program the right time to use that. Even human players don't always know the right time for that. We're now seeing a planetary get attempted by Nikolaj, and a fusion core get thrown down, which is interesting. I'm not sure what the reasoning is behind that. However, I'm not sure that's going to come to fruition here, as the last tank is picked off. There's no Liberators in the sky, which don't really have much of an answer besides these +1 range missile turrets. And the turret is getting some good shots off. You got to give it up for the turret. Woo! Yeah. I think we know the victor of this game, though. Ladies and gentlemen, send me any replays you want me to cast. Hit that like button, subscribe, join the Discord down below as this planetary falls. I guess that's why Nikolaj waited 10 minutes to go for a natural base orbital. Just wanted to get the planetary, you know? Yeah, that's gonna be it. I believe, though. No, I know. I don't know much, but I know that's gonna be it. The SCVs are now purposeless. Tank sieged up. One fatty blocking the ramp. The SCV is going for the scrap. Turned into scrap metal. And that is going to be GG.